91 days. Having witnessed his family die mercilessly, the lone genius takes his revenge creatively. The anime 91 Days is set in 1932, in the United States Prohibition era, where Italian mafia families were rising in power and selling booze was as illegal as selling cocaine today. As the name of the anime suggests, the story takes place in 91 days, in which the main character, Angelo, plots his revenge against the Veneti mafia family who killed his parents long ago. The only way to do this is by infiltrating the gang, leading to the unfolding of dramatic events. The anime starts with Angelo returning to his apartment. A letter has been delivered to him. As he checks it out, he smiles sinisterly, foreshadowing what's going to unfold. In a flashback, we see a younger Angelo living happily with his family. However, his life turns upside down when Vince Venetti and his men stop by and hold Angelo's father, Testa, at gunpoint. After Vince informs Testa that he killed the father of the family, he holds Testa at gunpoint and asks him to hand over the ledger which contains Vince's secret deals with the Glacias family, while Angelo hides in the closet with his younger brother, Elena. Angelo's mother begs Vince, but Vince hits her in the face. Angelo's brother, Elena, runs to hug his mother. Testa attacks Vince, but he's killed in the process, along with his wife and his younger son, Elena. Angelo escapes and goes to hide at his friend's house, Corteo. The next morning, after Angelo passes by his home to find it burnt to the ground, he walks away and leaves town. Back to the present, Vince returns to his hometown and reunites with his childhood friend Corteo. In order to infiltrate the Venetti family, who killed his parents, Vince convinces Corteo to sell them booze. Therefore, the two go to a bar owned by the Venetti family to offer their booze. Two men, Fargo and his bodyguard, Serpente, from the Orco family, break into the bar looking for Nero Venetti, the Don Vince's older son, but Angelo disarms them, and a shootout takes place. But eventually, Angelo and Corteo manage to escape along with the bar owners. When Angelo asks who this Nero fellow was, the bar owner takes off his fake beard and reveals himself to be Nero Venetti. At night, Vano and a young man named Tranco are driving a truck loaded with booze. However, after seeing a car in the distance coming their way, Vano and Tranco hide. After the car drives away, Serpente, who works for the Orco, shows up and attacks Vano. Vano flees, and as Serpente steals the booze, Vano finds out that Serpente killed Tranco before he attacked him. The next day, Angelo goes to the Venetti mansion, where the wedding of his daughter to a man named Ronaldo Glacias is taking place, in order to make peace between the Venettis and the Glacias. Behind the scenes of the wedding, Nero talks to his dad, Vince, about how the Orco family killed Tranco and stole their booze earlier, but Vince warns him against it, since this will start a conflict with the Orco family and ruin their peace with the Glacias family. After Angelo sells his booze in the wedding, he strikes up a friendship with Vano Clemente, Nero's closest friend, and introduces himself to Avilio, hiding his true identity. By doing this, Angelo takes his first steps in infiltrating the Venetti family. Later on, Vano and Nero plan to kill the Fango and Serpente to avenge Tranco's death, but they can't do it since Vince didn't allow it, which is why they decide to have Angelo do the hit instead. Surprisingly, Angelo agrees to do it. Therefore, Angelo sneaks into Fango's house, but before he can kill him, Fango holds the girl he's having sex with as a human shield. He secretly reaches out for his gun and starts shooting around. After Angelo takes cover, Fango jumps from the balcony and escapes. Before Angelo can shoot him, Serpente shows up and stops him, but Vano shows up and knocks Serpente out. They take Serpente to a graveyard in an old village where Tranco is buried. Serpente pleads for his life, but Vano shoots him dead. Just then, Angelo shoots Vano in the chest. After Angelo tells Vano he's the son of Testa, who Vince killed years earlier, Angelo finishes him off. Angelo goes back to Nero and makes up a story that Serpente killed Vano. At Nero's request, Angelo takes them back to the scene where Serpente died, Shockingly, Serpente's body isn't there, only Vanno's. This gets Angelo into trouble with Nero. Nero goes mad and tells Angelo to find Serpente's body, otherwise he'll kill him. In order to find Serpente's body, Corteo visits the bartender, Cerotto, and tricks him into confessing about stealing Serpente's body from the scene. After overhearing the confession, Angelo shows up and forces Cerotto to tell him where the body is. It turns out Cerotto sold it to a corrupt government agent. Along with Nero and his men, Angelo goes to where Serpente's body is. While Nero and Angelo pick the locks of the apartment, Fango happens to be there and beats Nero's man, Tigra. Fango holds Tigra hostage and demands Nero that he hands him back Serpente. Nero complies, but Fango realizes that this is not Serpente, noticing the blood on his clothes. It's a trap, so Fango pulls out his gun, but the man dressed as Serpente disarms Fango and reveals himself to be Angelo. Nero injures Fango's bodyguard, and Fango takes cover. After Nero escapes, Fango finds Serpente's body inside the bathroom. Killing Serpente will bring start to a conflict with the Okro family, so Nero decides to disappear and be on the run along with Angelo. Nero and Angelo are now on the run and chilling out in a bar outside the city. Little do they know, they're being tailed by a Mexican assassin. The two go to a camp where they light a fire. Unaware of Angelo's true identity, Nero talks about the days Angelo's father, Testa, got killed and confesses that he was actually there. He even had the chance to kill Angelo, but he missed the shot, being a lousy shot. After Nero goes to sleep, Angelo checks the anonymous letter he received at the very beginning of the series that has the names of those involved in the murder of his father. The writer of the letter is a friend of Angelo's father, but he never stated his name. This makes Angelo suspect that there was another man involved in the hit. The next day, Nero wants to drink more, but he's out of money, so he starts an arm wrestling contest in the bar and has the people in the bar bet on him. It all goes well as Nero earns money. The Mexican assassin who was tailing him challenges him, beats him from the first second, and starts beating him up aggressively, but stops after Nero kicks him in the crotch, which is every man's weakness. After this incident, the assassin recovers and walks out of the bar, only to get run over by Angelo, who sucks at driving. Therefore, the two hide in a barn, but the assassin finds them and beats the crap out of them, since the assassin is twice their size. Before the assassin can kill Angelo, Nero saves him by throwing a knife at the assassin's back. After the two walk out of the barn, they're stopped by the owner, who holds them at gunpoint and shoots the assassin, who tries attacking them from behind. Later on, Nero calls Barbero, who is his closest friend inside the family now, and learns that his family is making a truce with the Okro family. This means that Nero can come back. Before he does so, Barbero meets up with him. They meet in a secret location outside the city to show him a brand new brand of booze he had Corteo make them, unbeknownst to the Vanetti family. However, as Nero returns only to find out it was a trap after his man Tigra, who got shot saving Nero, tipped him off, it turns out Nero's death was one of the conditions of the truce, so Nero's younger brother, Frati, planned the hit on him in order to achieve this truce and gain the support with the Glacius family. Even though Vince doesn't approve of this, he's pressured by Ronaldo Glacius, who insists that he kills Nero and that Frati take over. Nero goes into hiding with his men again, but Tigra is injured and Nero needs to save him. Angelo comes up with a plan, goes against Nero's wishes, and decides to make a deal with Fango. So, Angelo and Corteo go to Fango and make a deal with him. If Fango agrees to send a doctor to heal Tigra's injuries, Nero and his men will help him kidnap the boss of the Okro family. Fango agrees, since Okro wants him dead, so he has no choice but to kill him. Sent by Angelo, Corteo tells Nero what Angelo did. Even though Nero doesn't want to work with Fango, Nero doesn't have a choice because his man Tigra is injured and is about to die. Nero and his men meet up with Fango. Now that they have a deal, Fango decides to let Nero and his men stay in his mansion where they plan their move on Don Okro. The next morning, Nero and Angelo meet up with Don Okro and propose a deal with him. Nero tells him about the new brand of booze he hid outside of the city. Even though Okro wants Nero dead, he agrees and forces Nero to take him to the secret location of the brand new booze. However, the minute Okro arrives, he's ambushed by Nero's man, Volpe. Angelo picks up a gun and shoots Nero. Okro commends Angelo on what he did and decides to drink to that. However, However, the drink is spiked. Okuro falls unconscious and realizes Nero is still alive, meaning that he wasn't really dead. Nero takes Okuro to Fango. Fango decides to have some fun with him. With Okuro out of the picture, Fango takes over the Okuro family. He even feeds Okuro's men lasagna made of Okuro's flesh. Now that he runs the Okuro family, Fango teams up with Angelo and Nero. They go into business selling the brand new booze. However, the Glacia's family still wants Nero dead, especially Ronaldo, who's married to Nero's sister and who keeps pressuring Frati into killing Nero. Frati is depressed and starts using, since killing his brother is not really an easy job. Elsewhere, Nero goes to a bar owned by Vanetti and sells the brand new booze. His uncle Gonzo shows up and convinces him to come home and make peace with his brother Frati. Not to mention that the brand new booze Nero's selling is causing financial problems to the Vanetti family. Nero's sister, Fu, arranges a sit-down between the two brothers and tries to get them to reconcile, but the things get heated when Frati loses his temper and the meeting ends with Fu slapping him. No one seems to get along with each other. After this meeting, Nero tells Angelo that he'll work things out with Ronaldo. However, Angelo doesn't want the Vanetti family that killed his parents to have peace, so he goes behind Nero's back, manipulates Angelo's man, Volpe, and plans a hit on Ronaldo with him. The next day, the hit takes place, but Ronaldo survives and is shot in the arm. Volpe and Angelo flee to the nearby jungle. There, Angelo shoots Volpe. A little later, Frati and Gonzo find Volpe's body. Gonzo tries calming his nephew down, telling him that Nero would never hurt him, but Frati blames it on Nero and he storms off. News spreads around the city about the feud between the brothers. Frati becomes more miserable and anxious. He even starts considering fleeing the city and leaving all this mess behind. However, Ronaldo pressures him into shutting the hell up and doing his bidding. Soon after, Ronaldo pressures Fu into organizing a meeting between her brothers, threatening that he'll kill their unborn child if she doesn't comply. Shortly before the meeting, Nero sends a bouquet of flowers with Angelo. As he prepares for the meeting, Ronaldo takes out his gun from the drawer. Seeing the gun, Fu realizes that Ronaldo is planning to kill her brother Nero, so she shoots him dead. Meanwhile, Nero confronts his brother, Frati, and advises him to leave the city and take a break since it's all over. Ronaldo is dead, and no one is pressuring him. Frati shows the jealous child inside and rants about how his father loved Nero more than he loved him. Angelo moves forward and puts a gun on the table, giving Frati the choice to kill his brother and rule the family. Frati decides to kill his brother, but Nero beats him to the punch and shoots him first. It turns out, however, that Angelo took out the bullets from Frati's gun, which allowed Nero to kill him. Fu leaves the city afterwards. Angelo informs her that Ronaldo's death was blamed on Frati, so to the public, it looks like Nero killed him to prove his loyalty to the Glacia's family. Nero is devastated after killing his brother. This allows Angelo to become his closest friend, taking him many steps closer to exacting his revenge. That's it for this video. If you like it, smash the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2.